Hey everyone, and welcome back to another deep dive. You know how people always say confidence is key? Well, today we're going to be taking that idea to a whole other level.
Oh, yeah.
You guys shared this awesome YouTube video with us. It's from Simone Squared, and she breaks down 16 ways to be, irresistibly attractive.
Irresistibly attractive.
And some of these tips are, let's just say, unexpected.
It's true. Some of these suggestions, at first glance, you're like, whoa, that's a little counterintuitive, even a bit out there.
Right.
But the video claims they're all backed by psychology.
Exactly.
So let's see if we can, unpack the science behind them.
Yeah, let's see.
And figure out what they really mean for you.
All right, so first up, wearing red makes you more attractive.
Oh.
Okay, I've heard this before, but is there really any truth to it?
There's actually more to it than you might think.
Okay.
You know how red is associated with passion?
Right.
And power?
Mm-hmm.
Well, think about it blushing.
Yeah.
A flushed face. Those are all linked to red.
Yeah.
And can be signs of arousal.
Oh.
So wearing red
might
be tapping into some primal instincts.
So like a subconscious signal?
Exactly.
Okay, I can kind of see that.
And from an evolutionary standpoint, red might even signal good health and vitality.
Right.
Which are definitely attractive qualities.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how something as simple as color can have such a powerful impact.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, that one makes sense.
Okay.
But this next one threw me for a loop.
Right.
The video says if you're a guy, you should actually smile less.
Interesting.
Isn't a friendly smile supposed to be, universally appealing?
You'd think so, right. But research suggests there's a bit more nuance to it.
Okay.
For men, appearing more stoic or serious can be perceived as strong and dominant, which again ties back to those evolutionary ideas of what makes a good mate.
Okay.
It's like that strong, silent type image.
Yeah.
So it's not that smiling is bad.
Right.
It's just that there might be situations where a more serious demeanor can work to your advantage.
Precisely.
Gotcha.
Of course, it's all about finding the right balance.
Right.
Trying to force stoicism, if it's not your natural vibe, could actually backfire and make you seem unapproachable.
Right. Authenticity is key.
Yes.
You don't want to come off as fake.
Right.
Okay, so next up we've got vocal tone.
Okay.
Deeper for men, higher for women, and a slower, consistent pace for both.
Okay.
What's the science behind this one?
Think about it. Our voices are incredibly expressive.
Yeah.
A deep voice in a man can signal strength, while a higher-pitched voice in a woman can be associated with youthfulness and femininity.
Okay, so it's like our voices are sending out subconscious cues about who we are.
Exactly.
Even before we say a word.
Exactly. And when it comes to pace, speaking slowly and consistently
often makes people sound more confident and in control.
Okay.
If someone is rambling or speaking very quickly, you can sometimes come across as nervous or insecure.
Whoa, this is making me really self-conscious about how I sound.
Oh, no.
Okay, moving on to tip number 4, which is all about self-perception.
Okay.
The video is super adamant about not trash-talking yourself, saying it's a major confidence killer.
This is such a crucial point.
Yeah.
The way we talk about ourselves absolutely impacts how others perceive us.
Okay.
If you're constantly putting yourself down, even jokingly, others might start to see you that way too. It's like you're giving them permission to undervalue you.
But wouldn't that mean we're basically stuck with our self-perceptions? Like, if I see myself negatively, will others always see me that way too?
Well, not necessarily.
Okay.
While our self-perception does influence how others see us, it's not set in stone. Therapy can actually be a really helpful tool to work on building genuine self-confidence.
Oh, wow.
Just like the video suggests.
Okay.
It can help you identify those negative self-talk patterns and develop a more positive and realistic self-image.
So therapy isn't just for dealing with problems. It can actually help you become more attractive.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next on our list of irresistible qualities?
This one you might have heard of.
Okay.
The cheerleader effect.
Oh, yeah?
It's the idea that being in a group actually makes individuals seem more attractive.
I've heard of that. So you're telling me that just by hanging out with a group of friends, I can actually appear more attractive?
Yes.
That's wild. Tell me more about this group attractiveness bias.
Yeah.
How does that work exactly?
Well, our brains are constantly trying to make sense of the world around us.
Right.
And when we see a group of people,
yeah,
we tend to judge the attractiveness of the group as a whole rather than focusing on each individual. So even if you're not feeling super confident solo, being surrounded by others can give your perceived attractiveness a boost.
So basically find yourself some attractive friends and stick close to them. I'm kidding, but I get it. It's like the group's overall vibe rubs off on you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plus, there's also something called the averaging effect, where our brains tend to average out the features of a group, which can sometimes make individuals appear more attractive than they would on their own.
Okay.
It's all about leveraging social dynamics to your advantage.
Interesting. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So tip number 6 brings us to emotional intelligence, or EQ.
Okay.
The video says this is crucial for attractiveness.
Okay.
I mean, we all know emotional intelligence is important for relationships, but how does it make someone more attractive?
Think about the qualities that come with high EQ. People with strong emotional intelligence are usually good communicators. They're empathetic, and they're often better at resolving conflict.
Right. It's like no one wants to be with someone who's totally clueless about emotions.
Yeah.
Their own or anyone else's. That sounds exhausting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just about romantic relationships.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence helps you connect with people on the deeper level, which can make you more attractive in all sorts of social situations.
Okay, so EQ is basically the secret sauce to social success.
You could say that. It definitely plays a big role.
All right, let's move on to tip number 7, which is all about posture.
Okay.
The video emphasizes good posture, not just for aesthetics, but for functionality as well.
Posture is so important. Think about it. When you see someone standing tall with good posture, don't you instantly get a sense of their confidence?
Yeah.
Good posture conveys a sense of openness, energy, and even health.
So slouching is a no-no.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm definitely guilty of that sometimes, especially when I'm working at my desk all day.
Slouching can make you seem less confident and less energetic.
Okay.
It can even make you appear less approachable.
Right.
Which is definitely not what we're going for here.
I'm definitely going to have to work on that.
Me too.
All right. This next one is a little bit funny.
Okay.
But the video suggests getting a dog to boost your attractiveness.
Yeah. Man's best wingman.
Really?
And you know, while it might sound lighthearted,
there's
actually some psychology behind this.
Really? Tell me more.
Think about it.
Okay.
Pets and dogs especially.
Yeah.
Tend to make people seem more approachable, responsible, and caring.
Okay.
Walking a dog is also a great way to meet new people.
Oh, yeah.
And strike up conversations.
So it's like having a built-in conversation starter.
Exactly.
Okay.
Plus, taking care of a pet shows you're capable of nurturing and commitment, which are attractive qualities to many people.
All right. You've almost convinced me to adopt a puppy.
Do it.
Okay. Tip number 9 brings in some wisdom from Dale Carnegie.
Oh, yeah.
You know that don't criticize, condemn, or complain thing?
Right.
How does that relate to being more attractive?
It's all about the energy you project.
Okay.
Negativity can be a real downer.
Yeah.
And it can actually push people away. Think about it.
Yeah.
If you're constantly criticizing, condemning, or complaining, it creates a kind of toxic atmosphere that people don't want to be around.
So it's not just about being nice.
Right.
It's about cultivating a more positive and optimistic energy.
Exactly. People are naturally drawn to those who radiate positivity and enthusiasm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Tip number 10 is a little bit nuanced. It's about oversharing, or rather knowing when to share and when to hold back.
It's a delicate balance.
It is.
Sharing too much personal information early on can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
But finding common ground through shared experiences can build a strong connection.
So how do you know when it's okay to open up and when it's better to hold back?
It's about timing and reciprocity.
Okay.
Early on.
Yeah.
It's generally better to keep things light and focus on getting to know each other.
Right.
As trust and intimacy grow, you can gradually share more personal information.
Okay.
It's also about paying attention to the other person's cues.
Oh.
Are they reciprocating your level of disclosure?
Yeah.
Or are they seeming overwhelmed or withdrawn?
That's great advice.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easy to get carried away and overshare without realizing it.
Right.
Okay, moving on to tip number 11.
Okay.
Which focuses on health and its link to attractiveness.
Okay.
I mean, we all know it's important to be healthy.
Right.
But how does that actually make you more attractive?
It goes beyond conventional beauty standards.
Okay.
Think about the cues that signal good health. Clear skin, bright eyes, a vibrant energy.
Yeah.
Those things can be incredibly attractive because they suggest vitality and well-being.
That's like an inner radiance that shines through, right?
Exactly.
I like that.
And from an evolutionary perspective, those cues of good health signal reproductive fitness, which is subconsciously attractive.
So taking care of our physical health is actually an investment in our attractiveness.
Yeah.
That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, tip number 12 is all about that elusive quality we call charisma.
Okay.
What exactly is charisma, and can you actually learn it?
Charisma is definitely a hard thing to define, but it's essentially the ability to captivate and inspire others.
Okay.
It's that magnetic quality that draws people in.
Yeah.
And while some people might be naturally more charismatic than others, there are definitely things you can do to develop your own charisma.
Yeah. Like what?
It's about building confidence, improving your communication skills, and learning to connect with others on an emotional level.
So it's about cultivating a certain presence.
People with charisma often have a certain energy and enthusiasm that's contagious. They light up a room when they walk in.
Okay. Charisma noted.
Yes.
What's next on our list?
Tip number 13 suggests that leadership qualities are particularly attractive.
Interesting.
Especially in men.
Why is that?
Well, think about the qualities we associate with strong leaders. Decisiveness. Confidence. The ability to take charge and inspire others.
Yeah.
Those traits can be incredibly attractive, especially from a heterosexual female perspective.
So it's that alpha energy, right? Someone who's going places and taking others along for the ride.
Exactly.
But it's not about bossing people around.
No.
It's about taking ownership and responsibility.
Right, precisely.
Okay.
And this ties back to that evolutionary perspective we talked about earlier.
Right.
In many species, females are drawn to males who display leadership qualities because it suggests they can provide and protect.
So it's something that's deeply ingrained in our biology.
You can say that.
That's fascinating. We've covered so much ground in this first part of our deep dive.
We have.
From the psychology of color to the evolutionary roots of attraction.
Big bit of journey.
But before we move on to part 2,
I
want to hear from you, our listener.
Yes.
What's one thing from our conversation that's resonating with you so far? What's one tip you might try incorporating into your own life?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments.
We'd love to hear from you.
We'll be back with part 2 to continue unpacking these fascinating tips.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much we can learn about something like, something we experience every day, right?
Totally.
Attraction is everywhere, but we rarely stop and think about the why behind it.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just about what we see on the surface. There's this whole fascinating world of psychology and even evolutionary biology that plays into it.
Exactly. And that brings us to tip number 14, which kind of builds on what we were just talking about with leadership. The video says that men are significantly less attractive if they're not a leader.
Okay.
And she uses some pretty strong language to get that point across.
Yeah, that one definitely caught my attention. It almost sounded a little harsh.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to hear your take on it.
Okay.
Is she onto something?
Well, I think it's a little more nuanced than that.
Okay.
While I wouldn't say it's an absolute deal breaker, there's definitely a kernel of truth to the idea that leadership qualities can be very attractive, especially to women.
So break it down for us. Okay. What's the connection there?
Think about the qualities we associate with strong leaders. Confidence, decisiveness, the ability to inspire and motivate others.
Okay.
Those are all traits that can make someone seem more capable and competent.
Right.
Which can be incredibly appealing.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
It's that I've got this energy.
Yep.
It's not necessarily about being in charge all the time.
Right.
But it's about knowing what you want and going after it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be in a grand world-changing way.
Right.
It can be as simple as taking the initiative to plan a date, make a decision.
Okay.
Or just be assertive when it's needed.
Right.
It's about showing that you're comfortable taking the lead sometimes.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And maybe there's something to that evolutionary perspective we were talking about earlier too, right?
Absolutely. In many species, females are drawn to males who display leadership qualities because it suggests they can provide and protect.
Right.
It's a subconscious association that's been ingrained in us for centuries.
Wow. So it really is deeper than just a personality preference.
You could say that, of course.
Yeah.
This doesn't mean every woman is looking for a domineering partner.
Right.
It's about finding that balance between strength and sensitivity.
Right.
Confidence and compassion.
Right. Every relationship is unique and has its own dynamic.
Exactly.
Okay, so that brings us to the final 2 tips.
Okay.
Number 15 seems pretty straightforward. Be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
But isn't that kind of obvious? Like, of course we all want to be our best selves, but what does that even mean?
It might seem simplistic at first glance.
Yeah.
But I think this is actually one of the most profound tips on the list.
Really?
Yeah, it's a reminder that true attractiveness comes from authenticity. When you're comfortable in your own skin and embrace your unique qualities, you radiate a certain confidence and magnetism that draws people in.
So it's not about trying to fit into some mold or be someone you're not.
Exactly. Trying to be someone you're not is exhausting and ultimately unsustainable.
Yeah.
People can sense when you're being genuine.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you truly stand out.
It's like that old saying, just be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. I love that.
I love that one too.
All right. Tip number 16 is a bit of a pep talk.
Okay.
The video basically reminds viewers that they're beautiful and capable of attracting love and happiness.
It's a sweet sentiment and an important reminder.
Yeah.
In a world where we're constantly bombarded with images of perfect people.
Yeah, right.
Attractiveness comes in all shapes and sizes and personalities.
Totally.
It's about finding someone who appreciates you for who you are, flaws and all.
You know, it's funny. We started this whole conversation talking about the science of attraction, breaking things down into like tips and strategies.
Yeah.
But it seems like what it all boils down to is self-love.
I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
When you love and accept yourself, it shines through in everything you do.
Yeah.
It's like this inner confidence that makes you magnetic and irresistible.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation.
It has.
We've covered so much ground from the psychology of color to the importance of emotional intelligence.
It's been a journey.
But before we wrap things up with our final thoughts in part 3,
Okay.
I want to address something that's been on my mind.
Okay.
The video focuses on heterosexual attraction.
Yeah.
But what about other forms of attraction?
Right.
Do these tips still apply?
That's a great question, and it's something I think a lot of people might be wondering about.
Yeah.
While some of these tips might seem geared toward heterosexual relationships, I have a feeling a lot of these principles are pretty universal.
Oh, absolutely.
Aren't they?
Yeah. Think about like the core qualities we've been discussing. Confidence.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence.
Right.
Kindness. A positive attitude.
Yeah.
Those are attractive qualities no matter who you are or who you're attracted to.
So the specific dynamics of attraction might vary depending on the people involved.
Right.
But those fundamental building blocks in genuine connection, those remain the same.
Exactly. At the end of the day, attraction is about connecting with another human being on a meaningful level. Yeah.
It's about finding someone who shares your values, makes you laugh, and inspires you to be your best self.
Totally.
And those things transcend sexual orientation.
That's such a great point.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into these 16 tips for being irresistibly attractive, what's the biggest takeaway you want our listener to walk away with?
I think the most important thing to remember is that attractiveness is not a fixed, one-size-fits-all concept.
Right.
It's not about conforming to some external standard of beauty or following a rigid set of rules.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating those qualities that make you feel confident, authentic, and genuinely happy in your own skin.
So it really is about self-love, like we were talking about earlier.
Yes. When you embrace who you are, flaws, and all the, it radiates outward and draws people in.
Totally.
It's like this magnetic energy that says, I'm comfortable with myself and I'm open to connecting with you.
I love that. And it takes the pressure off, too. Right. Instead of trying to be what we think others want us to be, we can focus on becoming the best versions of ourselves.
Exactly. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
Be patient with yourself. Experiment with these tips.
Yeah.
And see what works for you.
So final thought for our listener. What does attractiveness really mean to you?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What qualities make someone magnetic and appealing in your eyes? And how can you cultivate those same qualities within yourself?
That's a great question to ponder.
It is.
Because ultimately, defining attractiveness for yourself is the first step toward becoming the most irresistible version of you.
This has been such an insightful conversation. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Of course, it's been a pleasure.
Into the science of attraction.
Yeah.
Remember, it's not just about looks.
Well.
It's about who you are on the inside.
Yes.
So go out there, embrace your authentic self, and see what happens.
And never underestimate the power of a genuine smile. A confident voice and a kind heart.
Yeah.
Those things are always in style.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Yes.
Keep learning.
Keep learning.
And keep shining bright.
Shine bright.